What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the channel. Tobin here with you. Look, if you like the radio show, Tobin and Leroy, go on over to the TicketMiami.com's YouTube page. We got a radio show there, putting clips up every single day. Myself, Leroy Hoare, we get into so much silly sauce and shenanigans. You know, I'm still editing the clips, selecting the clips, posting the clips. So if you guys liked what you got on this channel, you'll love what you get over there. And also subscribe over here. We got our own little banter going on, having fun back and forth. All that type of stuff, man. We always appreciate the support, everything you guys are bringing to us. Thank you so much for seeking us out. So I'm annoyed, man. I'm annoyed that once again these charlatan bums in the NCAA are sitting here knocking on the Miami Hurricanes' door over this NIL, name, image, and likeness. And I am so frustrated that with every thing that is ever a thing in the NCAA, the first place they always seem to go look is Miami. It just always is. It's a combination of a couple things. It's the NCAA and it's the media. Everybody putting a bullseye on the Hurricanes' back because it's juicy, it's salacious, it gets clicks. I think people harken back to the 80s with it. It is unbelievably frustrating as a Miami Hurricanes fan to see how persecuted they are with all of this type of stuff. And this NIL thing, you knew as soon as it came out that this was going to be a potential trap for Miami of them being upset that the Hurricanes were going to do things a little bit different in a big-time city. And how the Miami Hurricanes were going to get NIL. I remember this happening with Dan Lambert, the owner of American Top Team, big Hurricanes fan, and this NIL comes out. I remember when De'Aaron King was one of the faces of this. You know, like he is getting NIL deals before his injury, getting NIL deals all over the place. Guy was older than a lot of pro quarterbacks. I mean, quite frankly, and people were like, "Oh wow, look at all the money De'Aaron King is raking in." And now, and then it was like American Top Team will sponsor every Miami Hurricanes athlete. And everybody's like, what? You're going to give money to every athlete? How could you do that? You know, horrified by this. And then Sports Illustrated comes out, who's always, anytime there's controversy, Sports Illustrated, they get themselves a pants tent for the Hurricanes. Like they are, oh, how can we make this? So NIL becomes a thing. And who's the person they put on their cover? None other than the Miami Hurricanes, and they changed their jersey numbers to dollar signs. And you're like, really? It could have been any school, not the SEC, not the boosters, not the Slimies down in the South. You go with the Miami Hurricanes because that's what gets you clicks. That's what gets you, I don't know if it's because it is sensitive Miami Hurricanes fans. I don't know if it's because people do like going and hating on the Canes. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be a reason that it's always the Canes they go to, correct? So, lo and behold, this Mario Cristobal comes on down here. Some real money is coming into the Canes now. New facilities, talks of new stadiums, real commitment to the program, real coaching staff. Looking like big boy football, quite frankly. Looking like a program that he was, you know, at Oregon with Phil Knight, one of the most famous boosters out there. Left it, came back to his hometown. Why? Because it looked like things were actually going to be different down here in Miami and money was going to get spent. And you're seeing him flip top recruits from big-time programs like Clemson in there with everybody with Alabama and Georgia. And the big part of all of this is you live in one of the college football talent hotbeds, all right, between Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. You know, all the way down from Homestead all the way up to the Glades. Like it is a hotbed down here in South Florida. And for Mario Cristobal to come here, he was going to need to see a real commitment. Now with that came a lot of people who wanted to be the reason why Mario Cristobal came to that credibility. Very, very swaggy boosters along the way. There's John Ruiz fellow who is got oodles of money. Loves to tweet. People are getting up in these Twitter spaces talking about the Miami Hurricanes being back. Okay. And you're seeing him be involved with signing a lot of these people to his company and athletes for the basketball program, the football program, coming aboard to the Miami Hurricanes to kind of get this athletic program that's got a new AD, a new football head coach, a revitalized Jim Larinaga, who once again continues to prove himself, and trying to get themselves back to the glory days, essentially. But we know that this is not the old school U, that it can just be built on, 2-star athletes and, grit and competition. All the things that my guy Brett Romberg romanticizes about just can't be done these days anymore. All the days of the U being the brotherhood in the NFL that continues to cycle is not that anymore. If you see anything, it's Alabama, man. You see the way that all these guys in the Crimson Tide support each other and are beloved with each other. It reminds you very much of what the U is like back in the day. Obviously not as cool because, first of all, it's a lame-ass jersey. They got an elephant as a mascot, and Nick Saban's a jerk. But you see that with Jalen Waddle and Tua and all the wide receivers supporting each other and all the skill guys supporting each other. And the Canes were that. The Canes need to get back to that. The way the relationship is between all those guys from the early to the early 2000s, getting back to those roots. But getting back to my point, so you have these boosters who are coming out there. They're swaggering all over the place. They're spilling money all over the place. And this is happening all over the place. We saw Nick Saban sitting there crying, whining, and boo-hooing about, Texas A&M throwing down money, Miami throwing down money. And why is it a problem for Nick Saban? Well, obviously because things have been pretty fat and sassy for jolly old Saint Satan Nick in his part of the woods there in slimy Alabama. And he doesn't want things changing. Why would he want to upset the apple cart? He loves the way that things are going. So he certainly doesn't want to see one of his hotbeds down here in South Florida start keeping people home. He wants them to go to Tuscaloosa, wants the gravy train to keep rolling. And so now all of a sudden it's a problem, and that NIL is a big deal because Nick Saban is looking here and saying, well, other people are competing with what I'm able to usually get just based on credentials. And I'm sure with a little wink, Alabama doing some things that are wink. Same thing with Texas A&M. Pretty much same thing with any SEC team. But when it's Miami that is using these new rules, whether it be Dan Lambert at American Top Team or whether it be John Ruiz with his crypto wallet thing, whatever the hell he's got going on there. Funny enough that the first school, according to Sports Illustrated, that gets the inquiry is not an SEC school where there's actual allegations coming out from coach to coach, but Miami, because they have a booster who likes to tweet. Which, look, he seems to fit right in. Now, I don't know what's going to end up with his Ruiz. I don't know what going to be the difference between him and Nevin Shapiro is. But I do know one thing. Whether he is, legit or not, or he is good for the program or not, I do know this. I do know that because he roots for the University of Miami and chooses to support the University of Miami, that puts a bigger bullseye on him than if he were to do this for the Tennessee Volunteers. And that's just the facts. If he were to do this for Georgia, this would not be as big a deal. But because John Ruiz does most of his supporting for the Miami Hurricanes, then all of a sudden it's an issue. Then Sports Illustrated is snooping around. Then the NCAA is making inquiries. Then all of a sudden you got to start answering for, how are you doing this the right way? Is everything on the up and up here? Dude, you guys haven't been doing things on the up and up forever. This thing has been a broken system for a long time. And now finally these kids go out there and they get to make a little bit of scratch, a little bit of dollars for some social media posts. And who is the first one that everybody's getting all up in arms about? Miami. Not surprising, but also still uberly frustrating, whether it be the Nevin Shapiro scandal, where a guy who has Facebook pictures, they're blowing it up like the guy is sitting here actively throwing briefcases down like he is an SEC school. When it's, strip clubs and yachts and, all this stuff that's out there, making it so sensationalized, like it's so much crazier down here in Miami than the money that's being thrown around in other bigger conferences. But it's the sexy story. That's what gets the clicks. And then everybody goes and they go, well, let's go to death penalty. We've done death penalty with the Canes before. Let's death penalty them again. Let's throw a cloud over it. Let's throw a cloud over their program. Let's not investigate them. Let's just keep the investigation going. Let's just keep it dragged on for 3 years. Let's just drown this program into the mud so we can go in there and poach all their talent. No, you don't want to go there. Let's negative recruit them. And so it's interesting seeing all of this stuff kind of cycle through again, where I do think we're at a day and an age where the Nevin Shapiro scandal wouldn't be as scandalous as it was back then. But even still, whatever level they want to put on it, whatever bearing you want to put on the Miami Hurricanes being at this point, who's the school that they go point at first? The U. And it just remains unbelievably frustrating as a Miami Hurricanes fan, as a supporter of the program, as a guy who's wanted the glory days, yearning for the glory days of the U being back, and seeing and having so much hope with a big-time quarterback, with a big-time head coach, a homecoming head coach, money being thrown to the program immediately. Therefore, you have 3 seconds. Season hasn't even started. You have 3 seconds of happiness, and they're already trying to take a big old dump on the Miami Hurricanes resurgence. Pisses me off, man.